You know what I think of these private parking firms which manage these supermarket car parks, all with the use of ANPR cameras and the vulturous way in which they behave towards members of the public and come after them for potentially hundreds of pounds if they're ignored and things start getting heavy. Well, I've had a couple of issues myself where I've driven into a car park to drop somebody off and drive out, and I've been told I've been illegally parked, even though I never parked. I never turned the engine off, and I've actually managed to get one of these cancelled because I tied them up in their own legalese. Well, reading an email that I got sent, there is actually a guy who's declared a one-man war on the parking firms, and I'll tell you about it next. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're doing alright. I'm not too bad, and I get quite pleased when I read stories like this. It's about somebody who's taking on the system and having none of it. And I think more and more of this needs to happen as the years go by. It's a guy called Carnie, right? He's gone into a car park and he's ended up being slapped with a £100 parking fine. And they're basically saying that he was in the car park for 22 hours. Well, the truth of the matter was he was in the car park for 2.5 hours over 2 separate days. And yet the parking firm that's trying to get him for it, have said he was there for 22 hours. This all happened in Dartford last year, so quite recent. He's basically said, I'm not paying it, you know, we're not having this. And it's actually a firm called Group Nexus who was chasing him, and they're usually quite bullish, and it's how we're going to get, but on this basis they've cancelled it. And they're not happy, Lawrence is not happy with this, because he said, all right, they've let me off, but what about unsuspecting motorists that might fall into this trap and roll over and pay? Now, this guy is being very tenacious. I'll leave a link in the description, by the way, so you can read the full article for yourself. And he wants to actually spend the money to take this as far as it goes to make the whole system fall down. Somebody has to, sooner or later, with the financial backing and the will to do it. This whole thing relies on ANPR cameras, and they simply do not work. All they do is record something between 2 distinct points. There's no timing. You can't tell how long somebody been there, or it's just a failure. I mean, one of the cases that I had thrown out with my regard, they turned around and says I was illegally parked, and all they could produce was a picture of me leaving the car park. I just happened to pass some double yellow lines when I went round. Took 6 months to get them to throw it out. The whole system is crooked. These firms are, well, vultures, and they just want all of your money and don't care by hook or by crook how they do it. And I really hope Lawrence and others like him get somewhere and dismantle this entire system, because it is really, really disgusting, particularly in the cost of living crisis we're living in. We don't need it, we don't want it. There are other ways of dealing with parking firms. I have so many people come on this channel and say, just ignore them, Andy. Well, years ago that was absolutely correct. Ignore them and they go away. But the problem is they took a driver to court once and won. So then that gives them the courage to go and, carry on and try it on with other drivers. And it effectively sets a precedent where, and they put this on their little warning letters, they're getting too big for their boots and they need taking down a peg or two. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you've had any problems, or if you've got any other comments to make. I'll see you shortly with one more. But for now, Lawrence, you're a legend. Toodaloo.